Car sharing has absolutely exploded in the last couple of years, and as a result, there are of course a lot of people trying to capitalize off of that popularity, from YouTubers to course sellers, companies, content creators, and more. And though of course this exposure has been great for the peer-to-peer car sharing industry, there is another small part of me that's worried that this popularity has allowed for grifters to come in and prey on unsuspecting victims. And so in today's video, I'm going to be revealing the truth about online Turo hosts and online Turo experts. And I'm going to be going over some of the red flags that you should look out for whenever you're looking at car sharing related content, see car sharing related posts on social media, or when you're looking to buy a course. Now, I do want to preface a few different things before we actually begin digging into today's video. The first one is I acknowledge that I am a YouTuber / content creator that has a course in the peer-to-peer car sharing space. There are a lot of content creators in the car sharing space that I really like, that I watch their content for fun, that I think are very informative, and I think they're just really good content creators and really good hosts. But there are other creators that I'm not a huge fan of, and I think that they're not really being honest, and I think that they're leading their audience, as well as potential people that are involved in their business, into some dark times. I'm not going to be calling out anybody specific in this video. These are just general red flags that I've noticed. Now, like I mentioned in this intro, as car sharing has exploded, there has been more and more posts on social media like YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, and TikTok of content creators giving Turo and car sharing a try. And though there is a lot of content in this space that I really enjoy and I think is extremely well done, informative, and entertaining, there is other content that I just can't help but roll my eyes and know that these people aren't being truthful. And instead, these people are making content to get the views, to sell their courses, and to sell their consulting services, to promote a business model that either doesn't work or one that could potentially get you kicked off the Turo platform. Again, this isn't a YouTube specific problem, it is a social media problem. And with that, the very first red flag that I want to talk about is if someone claims that Turo is 100% passive. This is a major red flag. Turo is semi-passive at best, and as you grow your car sharing fleet, the business becomes less and less passive. Sure, there are platforms like GetAround that are more passive, but even that requires time, energy, and effort. I've said it 1,000 times on this channel, and I'll probably say it 1,000 times more. Car sharing is one of the best side hustles out there in order to grow your wealth relatively quickly, but there is absolutely work involved in order to do that. I personally don't know any car sharing host that has grown their fleet to 6 figures who hasn't spent nights, weekends, holidays, and early mornings cleaning cars, taking photos, fixing cars. This is stuff that even small hosts have to do. Car sharing isn't really a glamorous side hustle, and a lot of the times it really is a grind. It is an amazing side hustle, and it's loads better than clocking into a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week. It is also what I would consider to be semi-passive, which means that your time isn't directly correlated to how much money you earn. For example, there are some days where HP and I may work on our Turo fleet for 4 or 5 hours in a single day, but there are other days where we may only work on it for 30 minutes, if that. Our money isn't directly correlated to our time, and no matter how much time we dedicate to the fleet on a given day, we have money rolling in regardless. But to get to the point where that is sustainable and to get to the point where our fleet is making a lot of money, that has required a lot of time, energy, and effort. And it certainly hasn't been 100% passive. Anybody who claims that car sharing in Turo is a 100% passive income stream, meaning you can go on vacation, you can go lay out on the beach, and you can make money 24/7, this is something that I would be extremely leery of. This brings me to my next point, which is anybody making extravagant income claims. I saw a post from somebody on Instagram that I follow last week. I'm not gonna say who it was, but she wasn't a car sharing host. She's just somebody that makes content around businesses and making money. And in that Instagram post, she said that you can make $100,000 per year renting out a 2015 Dodge Challenger. This is simply not true, and believe me, I definitely wish that it was, but it absolutely isn't. There are cars out there that do make $100,000 per year. In fact, a couple of years ago, Turo posted their highest earning listings on a blog, and the number one was a Lamborghini Huracan, which made over $100,000 in a year. I unfortunately couldn't find that blog post for this video, but the point is there are $100,000 per year vehicles out there, but a 2015 Dodge Challenger isn't one. The thing is, figuring out how much a car can make on Turo is a relatively easy thing to fact check. Turo does have an earnings calculator on their website that allows for you to see how much you can expect to make with different cars. In my experience, this is not accurate and it doesn't reflect anything close to what my cars actually make, but it can at least give you a good starting point. But if you don't use the Turo earnings calculator, you can also do the math yourself in order to fact check these income claims relatively easily. First, what you want to do is you want to look to see how much cars are being listed for on Turo. You'll you'll want to be able to find some listings that have some trips under their belt. That's indicative that these cars are actually getting rented out for these price points. You'll then want to multiply that number by the utilization rate, which in my experience is between 50 and 60% of the month for higher end cars and can be as high as 80 to 90% for lower end economy cars. Unfortunately, doing the rough math on your own will never give you the full picture of how much a car is actually earning, because there are a lot of different factors that go into how much a car makes and how much profit that owner is actually bringing home. Not only do your expenses come into play, but also the amount that the car brings in from Turo needs to be taken into account as well, because the daily trip price is just one income source for a car. You also have damage claims, you have cleaning fees, convenience fees, and all of those other things that need to be taken into account as well. And it's impossible to see how many of those each car is getting each and every month. It really is impossible to predict, but the point is there are a lot of factors that go into the actual profitability of a vehicle. Because of this, doing the rough math on your own will never give you the full picture. It will never tell you exactly how much that car is bringing in, how much that owner is taking home, and exactly how much the profit is at the end of the day. But what it can do is give you a rough idea. But if an owner is claiming that you can make $3,000 per month on a 2018 Nissan, and you do the rough math and you can barely get it to $1,000, that really means that that owner probably isn't telling you the full truth, and there are some red flags poking up. This, of course, brings us to the issue of co-hosting, which is something that has been gaining traction here on YouTube, and it's been gaining traction on Facebook for a really long time. So the idea behind co-hosting is typically having two people or multiple groups of people, where you have one person who's running the day-to-day operations of the fleet, the person checking in the cars, taking photos, dealing with guests, and then you have the other person that simply provides those vehicles for Turo, the person that has the money, gives the car to the host, and then they run the vehicles. So for example, if I was doing co-hosting, I would be the person running the day-to-day operations with HP. We would get some investors to come in, provide us with vehicles, we would manage those cars, and then we would do a profit share. These profit shares can be something like a 50-50 split, a 70-30 split, a 60-40 split. That's typically the average that I see. Now, don't get me wrong, co-hosting can be a really legitimate way to grow a Turo fleet. I know of many people that have done it extremely successfully, and I think that if you can do it right, it's a really good business model. But I think that there are a lot of people on social media that are promoting their co-hosting businesses, and they just simply don't have the proof and the evidence to support the claims that they're making. And I think that this is a giant red flag. Where I think co-hosting really makes sense is for two different scenarios. Number one is if you're somebody that doesn't have the capital to start your own fleet. So you recruit an investor, they give you some cars, you manage those cars, and then you put your money that you've been making from that operation into buying some cars on your own until you're able to expand and grow your own fleet. I have some course members that do this, and it has worked out extremely well. But my concern with co-hosting is that as there's been an influx of people interested in car sharing, there's a lot of people claiming that you can make a lot of money by simply buying a car and giving it to one of these co-hosting companies, but they really don't have the evidence or the background to support their income claims. There are, of course, ways to go about doing co-hosting really well and making a lot of money doing it, but there are also a lot of ways to go about doing it wrong. And I worry that people are going to come across these co-hosting companies, think that they're legit, think that their claims are actually obtainable, and they get suckered into buying a car and losing money. If you're considering going with a co-hosting company, or you're looking to partner with somebody who claims to be a Turo expert, these are some of the questions I would ask before moving forward. How long have they been in operation? What's their profile like? How many reviews do they have? What do their reviews say? Ask for a P&L. If they don't give it to you, then run. Ask to look at their Turo earnings and then compare that to their P&L. And I would even personally go as far as to meeting them in person and touring their operation. You don't need a shop or a team of people to run a fleet, but if you're a co-host selling your co-hosting services, you should at least have a relatively streamlined operation, even if that operation is running out of your home garage. Keeping the previous point in mind, if they're claiming that you can buy a 2015 Jeep and you can make $2,000 per month passively, do the math. If it doesn't add up, run. If you can ask all of these questions and a co-host answers these and their answers are backed up with evidence, then I would say go for it. They seem like a legitimate co-host. But if you ask these questions and they seem skittish, they can't provide you with proof, they don't want to answer them, then I would run and I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And last, but certainly not least, is everyone claiming that you can make a ton of money through car sharing and through Turo by renting out exotic cars. The reality is that hosts that are renting out exotic cars, especially multiple exotic cars, are typically car rental agencies that are using Turo as a commercial host, which was a program that Turo used to offer that allowed for rental car agencies to essentially only use Turo as a marketing arm, but you would not use Turo for their other services. To do this, you would need a commercial insurance as well as a number of business safety safeguards. This program has since been discontinued. Now, don't get me wrong, you can absolutely make money renting out exotic cars. Royalty Exotics, which is an exotic rental car company and YouTube content creator that does this out of Vegas, and he makes a killing. But he isn't a car sharing host, and that is a big difference. I think building a car sharing host with exclusively high-end cars is inherently risky, and I think buying only exotic cars is taking that to the next level. There are a lot of holes in the entire idea that you can rent out exotic cars and make a killing doing it. Number one is the fact that insurance and maintenance would absolutely kill profit. Number two is Turo actually has an ACV cap, or an actual cash value cap, and many exotic cars that people advertise as being great Turo vehicles actually don't even qualify for full coverage through Turo because of the ACV limit. At the end of the day, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And I think that definitely applies with these car sharing gurus that have been coming out of the woodwork. I do again want to emphasize the fact that I am not only a content creator in this space, but I also love watching car sharing related content. And there are a lot of YouTubers and a lot of TikTokers and Instagrammers that I personally really like, and I have a lot of respect for, and I think that they're not only smart, but have really ethical businesses and really great content. But there are others that I think are just grabbing for money. They rub me the wrong way, and I worry that some people are going to fall for their trap. In fact, I would go as far as to say that I know people are falling into these traps, because whenever I look at these social media posts and I scroll down to the comments, I find a lot of people that are very interested in working with them, buying their courses, and hiring them for consulting services. And I just worry that these people are going to end up being screwed. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.